Well, good morning guys. So I say good morning, depends when you're watching it. Could be watching it evening, afternoon, or as we are, bright and early. So I left my house at 2 o'clock this morning to head out to target a black bream today. Tide's really good for it, conditions are really good for it. While everybody was basically going to go and hit the Soul and Rays, I would have thought, in the Bristol Channel, I decided to try and beat the crowds with the way the tide was, and thinking I'd have it to myself. Unfortunately, definitely not got it to myself, because I say I got where I wanted to be myself, but it is absolutely rammed. You're probably not going to watch this for a little while, but there's anglers everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So I'm glad I left when I did. So it's just one of them really. But yeah, welcome. So here we are, basically fishing and targeting black bream from the rocks. So today using pulley rigs, pop-up squid. So when I say pop-up squid, what I do is we've got foam, we insert it with foam, and then basically what I tend to do is tip the top end off with fish bait. Sardine I've got today because I've not got no bluey to hand, and the squid acts as the pop-up, so you're getting all the scent and that from the squid, and then the fish bait around the hook point to attract and bring the fish in. I'm looking for small bites at first. What I'm trying to do basically is attract the smaller fish, get the smaller fish pecking around. I've got a slightly bigger hook on, so I'm not hooking the smaller fish, and when the bigger fish comes along, 9 times out of 10 it will come in like a rocket, hit my bait and start screaming off. So 7-ounce leads to holding the tide. Now I've got the T1000s with me today for the simple fact that I've got to lift the fish, and I'm probably about, I don't know, 30 foot up. So yeah, it's one of them really. Got a couple, the tide's laid off nicely at the end of the day at the moment. I head it out to the right, because obviously it will pull left with the outgoing tide. We've got about an hour to low water, and then hopefully we can see a few fish out. And yeah, now's sort of time to get yourself a monster. I've had a couple of half decent ones already this year. I've not put a lot of time into it, but as you see, with the way fishing was going to be this weekend, I had options at the end of the day. The Friday session sort of paid off, and spent the day yesterday with the family. Got early this morning to take full advantage of hopefully, I was hoping, a clear rock, but no such thing. But I suppose it's the way of fishing. I mean, it's, as I was talking in the previous video, I think unfortunately now these days with social media and that, it's first come first serve. And personally, one bit of advice I'd like to give all of you: if you're catching, don't put your pictures up, guys. Don't, just hold them back. You don't need to be, I know people put your pictures up straight away and stuff like that, but you get more credibility really by holding them back in a way, because what you'll do is you'll kill it for yourself. Okay, because what will happen is you'll put the pictures up, people will know where it is, and then they'll bombard it, and then you go down there, you can't get on your marks anymore, and it sees marks all over the country get ruined and stuff. And it's down to YouTube at the end of the day. And I think many years ago I used to get a lot of ill feeling because of what I'd done, but one thing I've not really ever done is promote a venue which is not well known. You know what I mean? A lot of the Bristol Channel marks are well known, but there's still places which I wouldn't go out of my way and say, look, I'm here specifically, you know what I mean? But it's just having respect for the fellow anglers. I mean, I've got a big issue with people just leaving bait and stuff on the rocks at the minute. I mean, when I go fishing, I want to be enjoying fishing, you know what I mean? I don't want to be sat with flies all over me and stuff like that. And with that in mind, I sort of like always chuck my bait in the sea. It don't take long, you know what I mean? But for the last couple of trips I've been on, I've seen literally rubbish everywhere, and it's not nice to see, guys, if I'm honest. It's not nice to see. But there you go. But yeah, we're going to get into the trip now, the session now. I've got a rig made up. I'll go through it quickly with you now, and then we'll get into the session, hopefully to see a couple of black bream. Okay then, it's a little tap then on my rod. Oh, is that going to go? Might have a fish on here, hopefully. Right, so what I've got is a pulley rig, okay? rotten bottom ring release clip on the bottom, 7-ounce lead, imp. Go into a rubber bead, 80-pound Sakuma shock leader, going with a proper pulley, rubber bead, 100-pound Gemini swivel, and then what I've got here is Icon Power Monster catfish line. This is 0.50 and it's about 75 pound in strength, so it's big enough and strong enough to lift fish with, and which I need here today. T1000 to be able to lift the fish. I find I could use drop nets and stuff like that, but personally, the way the tide is sometimes, I'm not a big fan of doing it. I've lifted them up and I've had fish well over £3 lifted up and never had an issue with it. I mean, I sort of wind down into the fish, slowly bring it up, and then the first initial couple of turns to get the shock leader where I want it, and then I'll basically really slowly, as I gradually bring it up, as I get it up, I'll bring it to the side, turn it down around and bring it down onto the rock. There has been times where they're not hooked properly and I've lost them. I've never actually lost one, touch wood, by it dropping. I know guys that have, but it's one of them at the end of the day, guys. But down to the business end, so I've got a 1.0 Sakuma Chinu on there at the moment, and I've got a sequin and a bait stop at the top. Okay, so that's what I've got there now. So as you can see there now, all inside there filled with foam, and then fish bait on the bottom end. As you can see, look at that for a bait. It just looks sexy, doesn't it? Why am I using squid? I'm using squid as the pop-up, because what the squid would do is it will attract smaller fish and smaller bream, and with that, what I want that doing is popping around in the tide like that, the smaller fish pecking away at it because it's too big, and then the mother or the granddad to come right in and just go bang and smash it. What I'll do, my ratchets are set on drag now. When they go, they scream like smooth hounds. I've had them, especially the bigger fish. 9 times out of 10, when you get a bigger fish, it'll go to ground and you'll snag, right? You just got to apply pressure, and sometimes it'll free. If it doesn't free, put it back in the stand and then allow it to go off the drag so the fish thinks it's free. The fish will scream off once again. At that stage, you'll lost your rotten bottom, and 9 times out of 10, if you're straight onto it, you'll bring it up. I've done it 2 or 3 times before, got snagged, got released, and I've managed to get them up. I mean, the 3-pounders that I've had before, every single one has gone to ground. It's not the case just bringing it straight in. And yeah, it's one of them. You're fishing for specimen black bream, guys, and there's nothing like it. There really isn't. I mean, it's one of my favourite types of fishing, and where I am today at the moment, I'm probably hitting the lead as far as I can, which is I wouldn't like to say how far, but a very long way. I'm fishing where boats fish at the end of the day. There has been cases when I've been fishing before and I've caught up with people fishing down, and I've just reeled in at the end of the day, and they've been shouting and screaming. I'm saying, look, you're in I was here fishing and you've come into my fish zone. 9 times out of the 10, the boats move off again then, and because at the end of the day, the last thing they want to do is be shouting at anglers at the shore and anglers shouting back at them at the same time. I mean, people got to have consideration for other people. If you're in a spot and you're fishing, at the end of the day, you move on, don't you? I mean, it's not you turn up on a mark and someone's fishing there. You're not going to sit right up and set up right next to them out of a bit of respect, really, aren't you? So that's the way I see it. But sometimes I don't think they think when they see you fishing from the shore how far you're actually fishing. But loads of room to wind one up here, and hopefully we can see a few fish out. Because the distance I'm hitting this, I'm getting the rotten bottom back, so I'm not losing it every single time. Got to be quite aggressive over the rougher ground close in. Up. Once I know it's up, I tend to be a bit more cautious to keep my lead. Lovely. There you go. What I tend to do now is have another one ready. what I'm going to do now, get my second bait of the day out, clip that down, bring the rod and bottom all the way up into play, then I can get some real leverage with this cast now. Tuna casting distance from the shore, breaching the surface. Last time we were here, we never had a good trip, and exactly the same then. The tuna, there was a few of them that day, and unfortunately what I think happens, I think they scare a lot of the fish off. A couple of them, I would say, I've seen breach today between 50 to 100 pounds. We've also seen bigger fish as well, but the smaller fish, you can actually see the whole of them leap out the water. It's unreal. You alright, guys? So I've been black breaming now for all morning, not a single bite, and when we come up before, we had the similar sort of day. The only thing what it's got in common with this day is tuna. So there was loads and loads of mackerel, and the tuna are out probably 100, 150 to 200 yards away, smashing the water all day long, and it was just scarce, totally scarce for fish. Similar today, normally with these sort of tides and that now, I would be like, you know what I mean, feeling very confident to see that we get a few fish out. But it's not happened. And the only thing, exactly as I said earlier on, tuna are in casting distance. And if there's tuna, and I mean, we've seen them constantly throughout the morning, and they are halfway casting distance. So I don't think I'm going to get a black bream, and with that in mind, I thought, shall we see what else we can get? So I've got a whole sardine on now with a 6.0 Sakuma Chinu. It's the only hooks I've got really, and I've put a pop-up on and on a pulley rig, and I've blasted it to the horizon. So I'm hoping a tuna doesn't pick it up, I'm hoping that, well, obviously I'm targeting a pollock now, and yeah, hopefully we get some screaming runs in a minute. Fingers crossed. Got to be in it to win it. But I've got a Sloss 20, the Sloss Ferry SHA, with not the best drag in the world, 20-pound main line with an 80-pound shock leader, and I've got 80-pound trace going on. So I'm hoping one of those big tuna don't pick it up, because if they do, I'm not stopping now. I'm just going to lock right into it. That's what I have to do, you know what I mean? But if a little one managed to pick it up, I'm sure it's slapping it off. You never know. Wait. On conga eel. I'm not going to play around with it. Right, there it is. It's going straight back in. Got my towel there, mate. It's on the top there. Yuck. So, yeah. I put a whole sardine on, popped up, because I had a few interesting friends roaming around. I'm not set up for anything like that, so I thought, you know what, Bream seems to be gone due to the tuna, so I thought I'd just put a pop up and see what happened. But going back to the breaming now. You alright, guys? So what an absolute nightmare. To be honest, last time we'd done it, we had the same issue with tuna, and unfortunately it's one of them. You can't do much about it, really. I mean, normally where we're fishing, we get boats out in front of us. No boats today, but pasty repeating on me, I think. But I've been going at it. I had one eel on a whole sardine pop-up, hiccups as well. But no, apart from that, it's not happening. Do you know what, when I left my house this morning, last night I'd have put my money on it that we would have had a few fish today, and the conditions are absolutely perfect, but there seems to be some small wrasse and stuff coming close in, but apart from that, not a lot at all, which is a bit of a nightmare, really. But it is what it is. You can't do much else, can you? Just got to keep going. I mean, there's lots of anglers about, and yeah, no fish, unfortunately. It's just the way a cookie crumbles, I suppose. It's as it goes to show, and we talked about in the other episode, conditions are everything sometimes. And even though the conditions in the water are very clear, and smallish tide, which always helps a little bit where I am, and yeah, it's just one of them. I mean, I feel last time we got a few fish out, and as we were approaching the peak time, tuna started bumping out in the water, and just not a sight of a fish. And which goes to show here. I mean, a few of the guys I've seen have had wrasse out. You know, I mean, they're fishing probably to where we are, and yeah, there seems to be some like wrasse and bits and pieces in close. I've seen one bream out close in, not very big, but apart from that, it's all just waiting games, really, which is a shame, because it's Sunday, but it hasn't gone to waste. I mean, we had a productive Friday, so it sort of saved the day, really. Nothing massive this weekend, but it's one of them, I suppose. We went out and target species on Friday, which you can't really argue about, and unfortunately, just fishing, isn't it? But it's been nice to get out. Met up with a friend today, and talk fishing, and tried our hardest to try and pull a fish out. It's not happened, but you know, nearly bought a headlight. I nearly bought the new the dual Petzl headlight. It was quite expensive, and I've been looking at it for a while, really, for an upgrade for my Ultra, and I've been told not to bother. I've got told that the Fenix, what I've got already, is probably the better one out of the lot, so I'm probably going to stick with the Fenix there. Shame, really. I do like the Petzl headlights. They look constructed really well, but unfortunately they are like I was chatting to a guy I know, and he was saying about, obviously, they're meant for caving and that, really, aren't they? And I can feel it with my eyesight personally as I'm starting to get older now when I'm out. I don't know if it's that or my batteries need to be changed or the headlight needs to be changed. It's getting old now. I've had it a few years. It don't shine like it used to, but it'd be alright for bassing and mulleting and stuff like that, so I won't get rid of it, I don't think. But yeah, I hope you've all had a better weekend than I have today. But there is a few anglers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's 13, 14 including us. So yeah, there's a few people out, but just nothing happening, unfortunately, which is a real shame. So yeah, part of it, I suppose. But no worries, guys. If we get into a few fish now, I'll include it. If we don't, I'm not going to bore you with me talking anymore, because there's not much else to say, really. Overcast is I don't know if it's played a part in it. I've had bream when it's been like this before. I had some really good sessions when it's been like this. It was quite muggy the day I had my big ones towards the beginning of the year. So I don't think it's that. I think the tuna's played a big part in it, if I'm honest, because if you've got them screaming around, they were in numbers. Personally, if I had a cabo and a T1200 here today, I would have had a go at targeting them. I had the gear, I would have had a go at targeting them. I would have put a bottle out. Trouble you got where I am is boats, and I don't think you'd be able to float fish for them. And I think you'd have to try and, because it's casting this where you are, I would personally try and lock straight up into it. I'd let it go on it for a run, its first run, and then I would basically lock straight into it. But I'd make sure I've got someone behind me to anchor me in. So I'll just get down on the floor, I think, with a T1200 and a cabo, and just lock into it. Three things going to happen. I'm going to go seabound. My rods are going to go in, or something's going to break, or fourth, it's going to come. And to be honest I don't think personally, I've seen videos recently, and guys targeting fish from the shore and accidentally hitting into tuna, and screaming, absolutely screaming, and just can't stop it. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to see. But I think with targeting something like that from the shore, which I'm not sure if you're allowed to do it or not, so I wouldn't do it without knowing if I could or not. I don't know that much about it, really. I know the boats, you've got to have licenses and that, but I suppose if you accidentally hooked into one when you were targeting big bass or big pollock, which I tend to do a lot, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? But I think anything up to £100, you'd have a chance with a cabo and £100 braid and a T1200. There's enough locking power in it to turn that fish, and a £100 fish, I would think it's a possibility of landing. There's been £100-pounders I've seen today. You can tell the smaller fish because they actually come straight up out the water, and I've seen them today. Having said that, there has been some absolute monsters, and I'm talking £200 plus tuna breaking the surface, and you can see their big tails and that going over. Did I just have a bite? It must have been my eyesight complaining up at me. And crazy how the times are changing, isn't it, really? I mean, you go back 20 years ago and someone said you're going to get tuna off of the South Devon coastline, and that you'd never believe it. Absolutely never believe it. And I mean, I've been to lots of different places around the coast and I've seen these fish, and today is the most I've ever seen in numbers in one area. I reckon I've seen at least 20, I would say. Bigger fish, smaller fish and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Some of them could have been the same fish, but I've had 20 sightings of it today, and within, I reckon, at least 12 of those the counters I've seen today, I could cast to. I think some of them, if I pendulum cast, I'd overcast them. I mean, I've got a lot of room where I am today. Very long drop, T1200s, and I mean, they're absolutely screaming out there, and I mean screaming out there. And I would always pay for that. There's lots of different methods of targeting black bream. I mean, some people will use a pop-up further back, and then they put a little strip down and a little hook, and then play it like that, which is good because you get fish that way. You know what I mean? You're going to get the smaller fish as well. The way we do it is we use the smaller fish to encourage the big ones. and it does pay off. You'll get loads of little taps, and all of a sudden you'll get your rod going like that, and it'll go bang, you know what I mean? It goes screaming off, and that's what we want at the end of the day. Personally, if I'm casting where I have been casting today, on no wind, and I've been absolutely leveling to the horizon, I'd put my house on it, if I'm honest. If someone said to me yesterday, I would have put my house on it, that we would have got fish out because of the conditions and stuff. But the boats are telling me one thing, because when the boats disappear, they've got fish finders and stuff like that, and they've got people what's paid to go out on the charters and stuff, and if they don't stay around, then you know there's something going on, don't you? So yeah, whether it's the tuna that's played ball or whatever it is, it's one of them. But I'm gonna go. I might have a pot noodle, if I'm honest. I'm a bit hungry. Got a longer drive ahead of me, with one eel out, which isn't sort of paid for the day really, is it? But it's been nice. It's been nice. Anyway, catch up in the next one. Hopefully we can see some fish. Another blankety blank session. It's one eel out. Apart from that, it's I don't class that as a session of fish. It's a blankety blank for me. I mean, we're out to target a black bream. If we caught a 2-pounder today, I'd have been happy. I mean, it's what you really come up for. But there's a guy next to me. He's basically trying different methods. So he's basically using worm baits with pop-up worm on them, and he's getting nothing, to stripped. So I think he's gonna have to go for a wrasse and that, and then yeah, it's one of them really. But gutting, absolute gutting. That's fishing, isn't it? Anyway, tight lines, guys. Catch up in the week. Don't forget to head over to the Sea Fishing Show channel, and do check out what we're up to over there. I mean, I've been really enjoying doing the content on that on there, if I'm honest. Do you know what I've had recently? And I don't know whether to do it or not. I've had bombarded with messages about me doing rigs, and it's something I've had loads of people ask me to do over the years. And to be fair, I've just done 3 for someone because he wanted me to make him rigs, and I don't know if I can. It's a lot, you know what I mean? I'm a builder by trade, and I can think of better ways to earn money and sit and do rigs. But I know why people want them, because they want to be helped at the end of the day. But it might be something I'll look into doing. I'll have to look into do it, because the trouble is, like I said, I've just done 3 rigs for someone, and I charged him a tenner. Okay, and I said to him afterwards, I was like, mate, I couldn't even buy it for that because of the components I use. I mean, I use quality. The trace line I use for breaming is about, I think over in America now, about £70 a spool. It's like 68, 75 with postage or something. I think 50 or so. If you work out nearly 70 quid for postage. It's 0.50, but it's a 70 odd pound in strength, and I can lift fish up with it. I mean, I've lift 5 pound fish up with it. 5 pound, you know what I mean? I fished, lift bullets up out the water with it before when I've been fishing with bream and eels and stuff like that. So I know it can handle it. But you've got all the Gemini, Sakuma. I make them with quality components, and me personally, it's time, innit? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I'll see. I'm not going to promise anything, but for those who've messaged in and stuff, the trouble is, what I wouldn't want to do is start doing it and then not be able to fulfill it, because I think it would be quite time consuming. I mean, I'm bad enough making my own rigs anyway, you know what I mean? I sit of an evening and do 10 rigs, or, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And just, for me personally, I've been at work all day. I don't really want to come home and have to tie rigs. But I might do a series and do like 100 of different rigs as a one-off, just to help a few anglers out. And if they're interested in that, if you're interested, send a message over. I'm not going to start taking orders yet, but obviously if I make, so I've got, I think it was about 5 people that's messaged in so far, and I didn't reply to all 5, but I replied to one of them last night because he messaged me twice about it, and I just said, look, I said it's something I haven't thought about doing, but the reason I haven't done, because it's time more than anything. But I might do it for a few. If I've done like 100 rigs or something or other, just as a one-off, just to help a few people out. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, innit? I mean, I think people struggle sometimes with rigs and stuff, and yeah, it's one of them really. But I know, like Connor and that recently, I've been giving them a couple of rigs to make up and stuff, and once they got them, they can copy them and stuff, which is good. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's having the right rig to target the right fish, isn't it? So specimen rigs, check it out. All right, anyway, tight lines, catch you next one.